The leader as they turn over World Mission. 3 deepest burst going up 4 deep. Lady Agnes, Mahaya waiting for the cutaway. A gap then to Tempest Command and Slight Chance of spotting them. A fair start as they come over the rise. Mingling glances on the inside, still in front of Mahaya. Lady Agnes trying to get to them, followed by Slight Chance, who's starting to wind up now. But Mahaya, this spectacular looking filly, has raced clear 100 out over Mingling glances. Lady Agnes and Slight Chance getting home doggedly. Mahaya's running off the track near the post. She's wayward, but she's good. And Begg wins the Oaks with Mahaya.
Two, Max. Yes, horsemen in the late 19th century invented a little verse that went something like this. 1 white foot buy 'em, 2 white feet try 'em. 3 white feet start acting sly, and 4 white feet pass 'em by. Now, that theory has certainly applied to many horses over the years, but it didn't apply to a filly called Mahaya in yesterday's AJC Oaks at Randwick, because she absolutely bolted in. And here's the man who puts the polish on this great filly, Grahame Begg. Well, Grahame, all's well that ends well, but I believe on Thursday of last week you were worried sick. She developed a corn in one front foot.
Yeah, that's right, John. Actually, it's been a sort of niggling problem we've had with her for some time, and it flared up on Thursday morning after track work, and, you know, gave us some anxious moments.
Right, now, she did veer out rather suddenly in the last 50 metres of the race. Did that little tender foot have something to do with that?
Well, possibly could have done. She'd never done it prior to yesterday, so, you know, I'd say more than likely that was the problem.
Have you spoken to your dad in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I rang him last night, and he heard the race on Radio Pacific, and, you know, he heard it live, so they were delighted.
Well, he won the Oaks twice and had several place getters, so you had a family tradition to uphold.
That's right, and it comes at a good time of year, you know, with Easter sales just being over. You just never know, you might pick up a client or two.
What a lovely, tall, long-striding filly she is.
She is, and she's just still, you know, learning what it's all about. She hasn't had a lot of racing, and we're not going to keep on racing her on at the present time. We're going to give her a break again and give her an opportunity for the spring.
Have you ever trained one before with such spectacular markings? I mean, they're more than white feet. The front ones come right up to the knees, and one of the back ones up to the hock. Quite spectacular, isn't she?
Yeah, no, that's pretty rare to see them like that, the markings like that, you know, above the knees. You know, we certainly haven't had one before.
She wouldn't have been out of place in Dances with Wolves.
No, certainly not.
Well, the long-term plan now, you're going to Brisbane?
No, she's going to the paddock this week, and she'll be getting prepared for the spring in Melbourne. So, you know, you never know, it might be Caulfield Melbourne Cups.
All right, Grahame, well, don't go away. We might have a look at one or two of your other horses during the segment.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Win of the day in the Hallmark Stakes. Now, this 3-year-old, trained by Lee Friedman, looked a forlorn hope on the turn into the straight when he was absolute last, but vigorously ridden by Shane Dye, he flew down the outside and got up to beat Mick Dittman's mount, Isn't She Gorgeous, in a tight finish. By the way, on this segment next week, I'll be joined by the Chief Steward, John Schreck, and he'll be bringing with him the previously unseen official steward's head-on footage of the early stages of the Golden Slipper run a fortnight ago. You've no doubt read a lot about the interference in the early stages of that slipper. John will be explaining who caused it and the eventual outcome of his inquiry. Well, the 1993 Conrad Jupiter's Inter-Dominion Championship commenced at the Albion Park track in Brisbane last night. There were 3 heats, and certainly the most impressive winner, as far as times are concerned, was the mighty Western Australian Jack Morris, who recorded a sizzling mile rate. He sat outside the leader for most of the journey and showed all of his usual fighting qualities to score narrowly, after riding cross swords into 6th place in the final event on the program. After donning the colours for the last time, he sat quietly on the same seat he'd occupied in the Randwick Jockey's Room for 28 years. A million memories of good times and bad, memories of the champion horses he's ridden, the thousands of owners and trainers he'd served, the wonderful jockeys against whom he'd competed. A quick cuppa before going out to talk to owners Jack and Bob Ingham, an association going back to the days of his apprenticeship. A rousing ovation from the crowd followed as he took cross swords onto the track that had provided him with some of his biggest wins. Carrying top weight, Cross Swords wasn't able to provide Ron with a winning send-off, but with 2,168 winners behind him, the jockey was more than satisfied. 4 Golden Slippers, 2 Doncasters, an Epsom, a Metropolitan, a W.S. Cox Plate, and many others. Well done, jockey Ron Quinton. You've been an ornament to your profession, and you'll grace the training ranks with the same commitment and dedication you showed during a long and illustrious career in the saddle. Well, Ron, as of Monday morning, you're a full-time horse trainer, and Grahame Begg, you'll agree the hours are a bit different to jockey's hours.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute shock to his system, but, you know, wish him the best of luck.
It's a 7-day grind.
Yeah, it's never-ending, and you're on call all the time.
You must be still pinching yourself after that Oaks win yesterday.
Oh, you know, we're still very thrilled. You know, we're just going to lap it up for the next few weeks.
Good boy. Now, this little fellow, Telesto, he ran in the Derby last week. In fact, he's been an unlucky little horse, hasn't he, in major races?
Yeah, that's right. You know, he's not a very big horse, and that comes against him a little bit, his size. But, you know, I do think he's quite a good racehorse.
So you're running him next week?
Yeah, he runs in the Ledger next week, and, you know, I'm sure he'll be running well.
Grahame, he's got a pony's head. This is the type of little horse you'd see at Pony Club in the suburbs every Sunday.
That's right. And, you know, he's not going to grow much more now. He'll just get bigger and stronger.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks, John.
Grahame Begg, one of Australia's finest